In this video, I want to talk about my ADHD diagnosis and the grieving process that has come with that over the past year. That was something I did not expect. I did not expect. I've always known that I was ADHD. It's been suggested to me before when I was younger in my 20s, but I had never had an official diagnosis, nor did I know what that means. I feel like ADHD is the most, it's like almost like a buzzword in a way, in terms of, um, or a person with ADHD, they struggle with concentration or all these things, but no one ever talks about all, all of the things that encompasses a person who is ADHD neurodivergent. There's so many, oh my gosh, so many factors that is never talked about, even in the therapy sessions that I've had over the past year. A lot of it I've had to do my own research to really understand what all of that encompasses. To be fair, I have not gone to a therapist that specializes in ADHD and neurodivergent people. So, to my defense, you know what I'm saying? I've just gotten the diagnosis and I went to a regular therapist. But a lot of the issues that I have had come up over the past 2 years have been honestly devastating. I feel like my life has been turned literally upside down. Like I don't know top from bottom, left from right. Don't know whether I'm going or coming. And I understand now is a result of years of suppressing emotions, thoughts, trying to live this normal life, trying to be this normal person when I wasn't. And to some people, that may not seem like a big deal, but that is a huge deal when in your mind, you think that your brain functions normally. You're doing things, you're living a life where you're trying to function normally. You're trying to, I'm big on self-help for years, trying to help myself through like videos and books that are made for normal people, and not understanding how detrimental that is for me. Having my expectations be one of an average person when my brain is literally totally different than an average person's brain. And coming to terms with that, like when I look at a lot of the things that I've tried to do for myself, self-help wise, and the expectations that I would set for myself, I now realize was completely unrealistic for me, completely unrealistic for how my brain works, for how I process emotion or don't process emotion. Just honestly, truly devastating. And I feel like this year, well, these past few months, it hasn't been a year yet, has been really, really processing the pain that has come with that. The realization, like, oh, I am never going to be like everybody else. Like, I'm never going to live a life exactly like everybody else because I physically cannot. Just even saying that, and it doesn't dwindle what I can do, not in the slightest. It just means that I can't do things like everyone else. I can't do things like an average brain person. In order to be successful, I have to change things up. I have to do things different and set different expectations for myself. And when you're a overachiever and a perfectionist, to hear that is like someone telling you you're stupid. Just straight up. It's like somebody saying, like, oh, you thought you were smart, you're actually quite stupid. Obviously that's not true, but that's what it feels like, because you're trying to, and it totally makes sense when I look at my work life, school life, all these different things. I always was operating at a higher capacity than most people. Even In my last like regular job, I was operating at 120, 150% all the time. And then when I got home, even though it wasn't a full-time job, I was working about 6 hours, which was good for me because doing the whole 8 hours thing, I'm just not good. I won't last very long because again, I'm operating at 120 to 150%, even on my bad days at operating at 100 bad days. You hear what I'm saying? Like having to completely change how I think about myself, that my bad days is operating at 100%. For regular people, that's at about 50. For me, that's all I got. You get what I'm saying? Like operating at 150% all the time, that means I'm over capacity all the time just to be able to function. On the surface, I look like an extreme overachiever. I look like in my job, I was able to pick it up. A job that usually takes people a few months to get and understand, it took me 2 weeks. And so they're like, oh my God, we can put you here, we can put you there. That just sets you up for more expectation, right? And so you can do this, that means you can do that. That means you can do this. And like, okay, I mean, that is a part of my job, but it's like hitting you all at once. And so operating at high capacity. Can I do it? Yes. Will I be good? Yes, I will, because I'll make sure that I'm going to be good. Can I keep it up? Hell the fuck no. Just really coming to that realization. I cannot keep up with this. And I still don't know what that means. Like, I don't know what just 100% looks like, because I'm always doing the most. And doing the most helps me get through things faster. It helps keep people out of my face because I don't like people around me. I like to know my job as quickly as possible so people will leave me alone, which is not usually what happens anyway. Which is what happens, but then they like to type. Anyway, I'm getting all over the place. So I'm realizing that even in jobs that I wasn't necessarily great at, or I was just doing my absolute best and it just never seemed good enough, that's when it really affected me. Like when I was doing my best, like I was operating at 150% and it wasn't good enough, that's when I really had to leave. Like I can look over the history of my work life history and I can see why things didn't work out. Why, like, I would make up excuses in my mind, which were a lot of them were true, but they were excuses to leave because I could not handle keeping that up. Even in that last job, I was starting to feel that burnout. And it happened after about 10 months. That 10 months of burnout. I could feel it coming and I left before it got bad. But then life on the outside, you know, just trying to, doing contract work, trying to just make ends meet, forced it to happen anyway. It was like I was trying to avoid it, but it just, and then the confinedness of jobs. I hate that, being confined by walls and you have to come in at this time and you can't do this and you can't do that. You have to stay here. Like, I feel like I'm in fucking elementary school. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I'm a person who functions better on their own, but then there comes that problem of staying on track, concentration, dealing with people. If I were to have my own business, I have my own thing, I have to really be committed to a steady flow of things, and I've never been able to do that successfully. If I'm just being completely honest with myself, I haven't been able to be consistent, and because it's just, honestly, this is not how my brain works. I'm a person who works good in bursts. Like I will do if it's a few months, a few weeks of really great work, that high intensity work where it's like almost perfection, not perfection, but it's really, really good. And I just do this thing and I get it out and boom, it's out, it's done. And then I need time off. I need a break versus a regular job where you have to come in every day doing the same thing at the same intensity for 5 days a week. I can't do that shit for long. And now I'm at a point where I have a job right now, but it's a job that I don't make a lot of money. And it allows me to have my own schedule, which is great. But again, I don't make a lot of money. So now I'm thinking, like, what is the next step? What do I do now? Because I, I need to make more money, but I'm not really sure what I should even do. I'll give you an example of, which is so funny. It's always the things that I'm really great at that takes the most energy. I'm an amazing driver. And that's not to toot my own horn, that's facts. I drove buses for a few years. Well, a year and something, over time. I didn't, obviously I don't stay at jobs long. I drove buses. And I also got my class A, which is in jeopardy because I have not done my DOT, which I'm debating if I want to do it at all. Because of this, the last driving job, I'm a great driver. Beep, beep, toot, toot. Literally. When it comes to driving big things, I have a great spatial memory that allows me, after some practice, of course, that allows me to drive really big things in really small spaces. And I really enjoy that shit, but I can't do it all day long. Like, I would be amazing at drive. I never got a chance to drive trucks. I trained on trucks, but I never actually driven a 18-wheeler truck like in a job. I would be really great at that job, but it requires driving big things. It's fun, but it requires a lot of concentration all day long. Like, you can do it and kind of zone out because you're so used to it, but you can't completely. Like, you have to still be on, like, focused. Focused. Okay. You have to be focused all day long for however many hours. If you're doing it for 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, you have to be focused on what you're doing because a mistake can cost lives. And I'm getting a call. I'll call them back. So any mistake can cost lives, right? So you have to be focused. You have to get good sleep. And the pressure of that alone, because I don't really sleep well. I'm just being honest. I sleep only when I'm tired. Like, if I'm not tired, I don't sleep. I don't know how people just lay down and go to sleep. Like, I'm still trying to figure out, like, how do you just lay down and go to sleep? Like, what the? Explain that shit to me. But anyway, I was not getting good sleep, having to stay focused, having to really concentrate that long all day, drug me down so bad. The last driving job I had, I was driving. It was so easy too. It wasn't making a ton of money, but it was like the easiest job. I was driving airport workers to the airport, like from the parking lot to the airport all day. It's like, if you just want a Cadillac job, it's perfect. Just Cadillacing, but still, have you ever driven in airport traffic? Have you ever driven in airport traffic? It's no joke. Airport traffic in Houston, where they're constantly having construction at the airport. I think there's still, that was 3 years ago now. Probably about 3 years ago. I know that they still have construction at the airport right now. You get what I'm saying? And so everybody's in a hurry. Everybody, just like, you have to really stay focused, because people who drive to the airport, a lot of them, they're just trying to be in and out, just zipping past. They don't give a fuck about you being in a bus or being able to smash into their ass. They don't give a fuck about that shit. Like, you have to be on your shit. I could not handle that shit after a while. Like, that in combination with just hating the job in general, because it was so fucking boring, and just a lot of my own issues led me to a suicide attempt. I know. Which I eventually moved past. I didn't actually seek help for that. I just moved past it. And I feel like, in a way, last year I kind of paid for not seeking help, because last year things started to get to that point again, like, where I just don't want to be here, and I had to. And I feel like all the emotions that I kept and just bottled up are now coming to the surface in all types of ways. And I haven't really known how. It's like, I've been dealing with it, but I don't know what to do with it. You get what I'm saying? And along with the ADHD diagnosis and understanding things like ADHD breakdown and overstimulation, like things that when I look over my life, I can understand why. Like, I would be in moments where I'd just be happy and going about my life, and then all of a sudden just filled with rage, like so much fucking anger. Like, why am I so angry? And I would take it out on people, and I didn't like doing that. So I stopped taking it out on people, and I just bottled it up. And eventually I started taking it out on myself. And that looked like repeating things in my head, like uncontrollable repeating words in my head. At first it would be just words, and then it'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with, like, that still bothers me. Like, I don't really that what the fuck is wrong with you over and over. Like, now it's like every once in a while something that'll sneak in and like, oh, shut the fuck up, you know what I'm saying? But that, it's like, you're stupid, you're dumb, you're this, you're that, like, over and over and over again for hours and days of that. When I look back over certain things, I used to work at Walmart. I understand now certain types of lighting really not set me off, but just annoy the fuck out of me. Like, I can feel my, like, teeth just like my whole body just vibrating. I sometimes I go to the gym, but I don't go as much because it's so fucking bright in that bitch. Like, why the fuck is it so much light? It's so bright, it's so loud, it's so cold. Like, and I usually go I would never go during the day. I only go at like 2:00 in the morning when there's nobody there. Which, shout out to the people who go to the gym at 2:00 in the morning, like the 4 or 5 people that's in there, because y'all understand the assignment. If you over there, then I'm over here, and we like rotate in a way. Like, you'll never see 2 people standing next to each other unless they came together. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's just so much. And then the TVs, it's like 20 TVs. I don't watch TV while I work out because it's so distracting. And it's on the most toxic fucking channels, like news. Who the fuck wants to see that shit? Like, don't you want to work out to get away from that shit? Who wants to see CNN and all the shit going on while you're running? Like, who wants to see that shit? So I generally focus, because I go to Planet Fitness. I generally focus on Planet Fitness TV. It's the only TV channel that has like nature and, you know, people doing sports and stuff that's actually fucking interesting while you're fucking running. Like, who wants to see that? But anyway, so I don't go as much, because before, when I would go in there, I would do it unconsciously. I would walk and run with my eyes closed, but I would walk with my eyes closed. I would work out pretty much the whole time with my eyes closed, because it helped me concentrate. It helped me focus on listening to the things that I was listening to. But eventually it's like, it's not the peaceful place that I really want it to be. So I do more workout at home, even though I don't have all the equipment, you know what I'm saying? I really enjoy the equipment and getting away, you know what I'm saying, from my house. But I just hate all of the shit. Like, can we have a gym that doesn't have all of that and is still affordable, you know? But anyway, um, so yeah, I recognize even during that time when I was working at the Walmart, how the lights the lights, the people, the sounds, the all the things, like the music, the I can see why during that time I had a really, really, really hard time with everything. I was just so angry all the time. And I did that for 2 years. I don't know how the fuck I made it through that, but I was young too. I was like in my early 20s, mid 20s. Um, but I just, over the different jobs, I can see why they didn't work. I can see why, me setting myself to these extremely high standards, because I felt like if I didn't do well, I think this also comes from the 90s gifted and talented classes. You still are you is your anxiety is your anxiety up yet? Yes, I was one of those kids in the gifted and talented classes in elementary school and middle school and all that. I forego that shit in high school. Well, no, I didn't. I didn't, because the only thing I didn't have was math. Anyway, shut up, Crystal. But anyway, so so I can see the strands of me trying to overachieve, to compensate for what I felt like I lacked, because if I went in with just giving it 100%, it was never enough. It never felt like enough. Or I would get like my mom would tell me this. Oh, she's really smart, but she just doesn't try hard enough. Like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, like that kind of shit just sends you over. And then, school was boring to me. I hated school. And I will admit that I would do what I needed to do to just get through the class, because it was boring. I wanted to be somewhere else, and I didn't really give a shit about what they were talking about. But even that stuff that I did, that was my best. And it showed in my grades, but somehow it was not great. Great for what? For who? I didn't even want to go to college. I had no desire to go to college because I knew it was going to be more of the same, which it was. But I'm sorry. I don't know where the hell this is going, but just looking over my entire life, going through all of these things, suppressing, shutting down, not allowing myself to see or do anything. What time is it? Okay, because I got to get out of here at a certain point. Not allowing myself to see or do or be. I feel like now at 32 years old, it's all coming up like vomit in my brain. All the emotions, and I work through emotions every day. I'm not currently seeing a therapist, honestly, because I feel like there's nothing they can do for me right now. And what I mean by that is I'm trying to work through emotions to be able to get to the next level of what to do next. And the only way to get to the next level is to work through the emotions. And so that's what I've been doing every day religiously. Like, when it comes to spiritual work, when it comes to inner work, shadow work, I'm a fucking athlete. Like, like I don't do shit consistently, but that every single day, consistently, I'm working on myself. I'm writing things down, things that come up. I'm reading stuff. I'm listening to stuff. I'm That's the thing that I'm the most committed to, is myself, my inner work. And there's so much knowledge that I have to share from that. And I am going to share it. Like now, I feel like I'm sharing it. But I'm still working through so much. And I realize that over the years, I feel like I've been looking for this and that, but only thing I've really been looking for is myself. That's the only thing, the only person that I've ever really wanted. And unless there are people who are like me, soul family, they are, spiritually in alignment and just where they're in the direction of where it is I want to go with my life, unless they're those people, I really have no desire for anybody else. Unless they're like my partner in life who really gets it, who gets me. Aside from that, I have no desire to um, be in cahoots with people who aren't that, and I think that's a good step because anything else before that, like anything other than that, would be a great distraction and just not where I'm going. And I've realized that lately, keeping certain people around, which is nothing to do with them, they just aren't in the direction that I'm trying to go. And I just don't want to be distracted by that anymore. I have certain beliefs and values that I'm trying to solidify in myself, in my person. And if these other people don't believe in that, or they're also been in that survival mode for years, like I don't want to be in that anymore. So I have to change my mindset. I have to change how I think, how I see myself, what I expect for myself to be able to get to the next stages and next level of my life. And honestly, if they ain't on that, like directly on that point, not like kind of off this way or off the, no, you got to be right fucking here for me to be interested in any sort of conversation. Because aside from that, you just distracted me off of my path where I'm going. And that's just how I feel right now. And that's nothing personal to anybody at all. It's just I'm ready for a new level of self. And in order to get there, I have to be clear of mind, clear of spirit, and the things that I've been going through, being honest with myself, being vulnerable. I've been told by source that is my superpower, being vulnerable and truthful. And I have to be that with myself first. And the truth is, the only person I've ever really wanted to be my friend is me. And for so many years, I had not been my best friend. And I want to remedy that with my daily work. So, at the risk of this being 30 minutes, I'm going to cut off right here and say thank you so much for listening. I hope this was helpful. I am going to do more videos about ADHD, my diagnosis. I do feel like I'm going to go to a therapist soon because there's certain things that I know is my blind spot that I need some clarity on and need help working out. But aside from that, I just want to work through the emotions. And only person who can help me do that is me. Working through emotions helps you to be able to grasp the concepts of what someone else has to offer, I feel. But anyway, I'm gone. Thank you for listening. Love you. Bye.